Hi, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and Javier will forward them to me. If not, you can always send us any questions to the Facebook page or in the Slack channel or in the YouTube channel. In the comments of the video, you can just write any questions, and we'll try to answer the best that we can. Well, welcome everyone to the course Getting Started with XPO and Xamarin. In this case, what we're going to learn is how to use XPO with Xamarin Forms application with local connections and remote connections, actually, which is the best scenario, I will say. Also, we will learn how XPO can help you to reduce code when you use the MVVM pattern, design pattern, which is the most common one in Xamarin Forms. And well, basically that's it. For this course, I think you should know already what Xamarin Forms is, otherwise you will not be here. And well, if you know something about Prism framework for Xamarin Forms, it's not necessary, it's not a requirement for the course, but we use it in every project basically. So in this project, it's not the exception. We will use Prism also because we like the dependency injection and the navigation from that framework. So we basically use it in every Xamarin Forms application that we do. So well, in here I have the final application already done. Let me close this other studio. And okay, this is the application that we will be building today. Actually, it's already done. It's one of our sample applications. So in this case, we have the server. Let me try to see if I can do a magnifier. It looks really ugly when I do this, but okay. So we have the server, we have the ORM, which is where the persistence classes are living, and we have the agnostic application in Xamarin Forms, which is the UI basically. And then we have the head projects, the Android, iOS, and UWP. And in here I have a console project just to show you some principles, but this is what we're going to be building today. So let me close the magnifier so everything goes back to normal. Yes, well, almost back to normal. It's still like lagging, but this is a remote machine. Okay, so well, first let's start by creating an application. So in this case, what we're going to do is let's open a studio, and to use the time in the best way possible, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you just how I did the setup, and then we're going to check the classes in the project that is already created, because otherwise it will take like too much time. It's not that it's a lot of code or stuff that you need to do, but it just takes time. So anyway, after after the lesson is finished, you can just download the source code and make it work in your local setup. So basically what I did, or how you can start, you can create any Xamarin application, but in general we use Prism, so you can use any Prism application or AppMap from Infragistics. Which is what I actually use in most of the cases. So next, in here we'll do XPO AppMap demo. I'm going to do the setup of the layout of the project, and then we're going to use the one that is already built. So in here you can use all the flavors, Android, iOS, and UWP. But regarding UWP, there is a warning that there is a problem with the project template and XPO, but it's not a problem that is XPO or Prism related. is Microsoft related. So they have to fix something in the template, and there are some tricks to make it run. We do have a ticket with Developer Express about that, and they gave us the answer, but it's not public. So I guess I will write an article about that. But for the time being, you can select all of them. Then for the dependency injection container, in here I always use Unity because I'm used to it. You can use the other one. Actually, Javier, he used this one. I use this one all the time. And then I will do show app map. In here you can plan the layout of your application. You can do the design basically and how each window will communicate to each other. So I'm going to put just one here, and this is going to be main page, and I will generate it because how the navigation is done in the UI is not part of this course. It's not a Prism course. It's an XPO course, so we don't care that much about the navigation. You're supposed to know Prism already in this case, but also it's not necessary. You don't have to use Prism. It's just because we use it that way. We wanted to show it in that way, so all our customers can understand the flow of our projects, especially the mobiles. Okay, so here we have the application, right? So basically there are a few things that we need to do. First, we need to install XPO. So for that, I will go to the NuGet package manager and then add XPO for all the projects. Actually, you just need it in here in the agnostic one, but I usually put it in all of them. So let's wait for this to restore the packages. Let's see how the processor is going. It's burning, but it will go down soon. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, I think it's done. And no, it's not done. So hold on, let's wait a little bit more. In the meantime, I will show you what I will do in the other solution. That's why it's best to have both of them. We're going to set up some NuGet packages. Actually, this course will invalidate somehow all the other courses because we did some breaking changes in some APIs. If you use pure XPO, that will not affect you in any case. But for the customers that are using the Web API provider, we changed it from namespace and we renamed the assemblies. So it makes sense with all the other providers that we're going to publish that are open source. So there were some breaking changes, so I will say that this is the layout that will stick from now on. So the packages that we need to install basically are, in this case, is XPO. And as you can see, it's installing all our projects. So what we're going to do here is do the same. Sometimes I don't know why, when I select something in the studio, I cannot click over it, but I think it's something with the new update. Okay, so manage NuGet package for the solution. And here, XPO. And let's put it in all the projects. And let's wait a little bit for this to restore. And okay, great. So in here they show us the README and some information that might be useful, but let's forget about that for now. So next, let's check the other project, what we need. Well, we will need a database somehow. So the only database that runs inside of anything actually is SQLite. So we do have our own version of the SQLite NuGet, which is this one, multi-target, because it just put all the right reference, exactly the right reference, and you just set up with one line of code. So it's really neat. So we do this a lot, so we wanted to save all the time that we can. So let me get the ID. From here. So let's go to the other solution. And paste this. Yeah, I didn't copy it, I think. So let's do it. Try to do it again. So this you will not find this package in the NUED website, NUED.org website. You have to have our own or NUGET fee from Bit Frameworks. So in here, if you select this, you will see that that you can download it. And in this case, I think I did a revision, and this is the new version. That's why it's only one download, because I just did it yesterday at night. Because I'm unifying all the APIs and all the namespaces and assemblies and so on, so they make sense. So everything will be like brand new somehow. And also we will include unit testing for all of our projects, so you can download, compile it, and be sure that it will work. Okay, so let's install this. We'll have two downloads. We do have a different version of this in NUGET.org, but we in general decide to not use that website. We use our own NUGET feed. So okay, basically in UWP and Android there is nothing to do regarding the setup, but there is something to do regarding the setup in iOS. So in here there are the instructions. Basically in iOS you need to do this, otherwise the linker will eat the connection. I mean, it will eat the assembly. So you need to tell it like, okay, this type don't put it through the linker because it might disappear. So let's wait a little bit. Okay. Sometimes it's really slow. But I'm in a remote desktop from a virtual machine inside of another virtual machine. That's why it's so, it feels so strange sometimes. Okay, so what we need to do is, let's copy this and this is for the iOS project. So we need to find, I think it's in the main. Yes, here's the application. So we need to put this line and include the namespace. And after that we need to do this. And that's all the setup for iOS. Just two lines. So I'm going to copy this and put this here. And it's not copying, so live demonstrations, when you want to do something, everything starts to fail. I tested this like 10 times before. Okay, there you go. So basically that's everything that you need to do in here. That's the setup of the application. And there are some stuff that I will suggest you to do. So let's manage the NuGet package. So After you set up XPO and SQLite multi-target, let's do some updates. Let's do all. And do Xamarin Forms, because usually Prism templates are a little bit behind. See, this is Xamarin Forms 3.6. Also, they do it for compatibility reasons. So just put the newest one. Is the best way to proceed. And let's see. This will take some time, and maybe I need to restart the studio, because after you change that package, sometimes it will show you a notification like you need to restart the studio to finish the restore, because the node was busy and it was not able to be removed or something like that. But let's see, still working? Yes, it is. So let's wait a little bit. Sorry for this delay, but this is the most practical way to work, to have virtual machine for everything. But well, okay, everything is up and running. So next, what we are going to do is, let me close all the windows. Well, we do have the application, right? But there are a few things that we still need to do. Hold on. Why this always happen in live demonstrations? My phone is ringing, so I need to get it, but I don't know what it is. 1 second. Sorry for that. I think we will edit that out of the video. Okay, so where were we? Okay, this is the new demonstration. Good. So, well, we do have the reference, right? But usually what is good to do is, well, if your application will not share any data with any other system, you can just write the XPO classes in there. But usually what you do is something like this. You add a new project, add a class library, and in here you do something like this. So then you add reference to this project in the agnostic project. So we will do that. And then you can declare your persistent objects here. Actually, I need to add XPO to that one. Why? Because if your application is going to be shared between SAF and XPO, that's the best way to go. Otherwise, you will end up with Xamarin Forms reference in your SAF application, or SAF reference in your Xamarin Forms application. So you better do the project that is in between. Okay, so yeah, again, I cannot click over it. So let's wait a little bit. Basically, we need to add XPO to this, and that's it. So okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to copy the contact class from the other. See, we have the same layout. From here, I'm going to copy 2 files. And I'm going to paste them here. And we're going to see them and then understand what is inside of each file. Okay, let's delete this class 1. So here we have a persistent class which is called contact. Only contains two properties, phone and name. See, a really simple class. You can go as complex as you want, but for demonstration purpose, this is more than enough. And then we have this class. This XPO helper, you can find it in a lot of Developer Express examples, actually, especially in the one from ASP.NET, the original version, not core, but the original one. Also in the one from core is the same. So basically this is a small utility that helps you create a dictionary, to update the schema and to handle all those mechanics, I would say. And well, if you watch our video about the XPO best practices, this is one like the practice number 6 or something like that, which they say like create a different application to update the schema. In this case, it's not a different application; it's just a class to do that. But this is the way to do it. Actually, SAF do it this somehow, but you don't see it. So you think you don't need this code, but you don't need it. They are doing it for you. Okay, so this XPO helper is quite simple, I will say. At the moment, it only contains like one array of entities of types. We will use this to create a dictionary to update the schema, so it will create the tables for us. So if you can see here, we have the init method, which asks for the dictionary. And to prepare the dictionary is something like it's really easy. You create a new reflection dictionary, then you get the schema from that dictionary, from the entity types. So basically what it's doing is like asking like what are the persistent types that you want to put in the dictionary. Then you read them and you generate the metadata, put tomatoes, as you say it in English. Okay, so you generate the metadata and then with that you update the schema. And the reflection dictionary can contain from 1 to X amount of persistent classes. So we will make sure that all the relationships and everything are correct in general. So in here, then in the init method, we create, we check that the data layer is null. Then we create a data layer and we update the schema. We have two overloads, one that receive a data store and one that receive a data layer and a connection string. So they both do the same basically, and that's it. And then we have a method to create a new unit of work using that data layer that we created in here. And that's basically it. So that is an essential part of how this should work. So after that, what you need to do is you need to come here and on initialize, you need to basically do the setup for your data layer. Let's go to the other project and see how we did it in there. So in here, if you go to the application, you can see something like this. This I got from a Developer Express example. Basically, they are showing you a few possible ways to connect to a database using XPO on Xamarin. So the first case, they show you how to do it with SQL Server. SQL Server you can connect through I think it's net pipes or memory pipes, something like that, which is an internal memory network. Or you can do it through TCP/IP, but that is by default off. There is a video on our channel about turning on the TCP/IP connections for SQL Server, but I don't really recommend that. Actually, it's like you need to take care more about security if you want to proceed in that approach. but that's another topic, completely different. So then they show you how to connect using SQLite in general. So basically, you just create the path, a string for the path of the file, and then you use the get connection string method from the providers. All the providers, uh, all of them have that the same method, which asks for a few parameters that are specialized for that database, and then it will return you the connection string. And after that, this you should ignore it, at least for now. We will not need it. I'm going to comment this out. And well, I'm going to copy this. So in the most simplistic scenario, this should be something like this. Let's forget about the SQL Server one. Actually, you will have all that information because the one that is going to be published is the other solution, not this one. I just wanted to show you how I did it. So basically, these three lines are the most basic setup that you can do. Then I don't know if I already did this, but project ORM. Okay, yeah, we do have reference to the ORM. So after that, what you need to do is to initialize your database. So you do that by executing something like this. It's a static method, actually. So I have two versions. This one uses a connection string, but the other one uses data store. So we're going to just do this. Great. So beside that, I mean, at this moment you have a data layer, and you can create unit of works that represent this ORM. I mean, these tables here in your Xamarin Forms application. So basically, at this point, actually, XPO will be working already on your Xamarin application. If you want to add more entities, you should add them in this entity types array. Just add here like type of, and then you add your new type, customer, for example. But in this case, since we want to do a really simple example, we will just only one. And okay, as I told you, at this point, we should have XPO working in this solution. So let's go to check the list of subjects. Okay, so first we learn how to install XPO on Xamarin Forms in the Android and iOS version, and we did that by installing XPO and the SQLite provider. And then we learn how to initialize the schema, which is with the XPO helper. Actually, I think Javier he wrote one article about that, about the XPO helper. And if not, if you go to his blog and you do XPO helper, you will find it in many examples that he have done. So we use it a lot. So we already will have one in our base nuggets, so you can use it out of the box. It will be easier. So, and then after we learn how to initialize the local database and the schema, we learn about local connections, which is the connection that we're creating here. What is this? Here we get the connection string, and we create a local connection to this database. So far so good. Let's continue here. So then we initialize the data layer. That is also done in when we do the initialization of the database. And let me show you where it is. if you go to the XPO helper, in here in the end, uh, we set the default session to null, and we set up the default data layer to a thread safe. You can change this to a simple data layer because there is only one thread anyway in mobile. Well, you can do multi-threading also, but it's a more advanced scenario, I would say. Okay, so since we're doing this in both the init methods here and here, basically every time that we create a unit of work, even if we don't specify the data layer as a parameter in the constructor, this unit of work will use the default one, this one here. So that's the initialization of the data layer. And now it's time to learn about the MVVM data bindings. Okay, so for that we will go to this application. And let's see, in here we will init with this one. Okay, so at this moment we have XPO working, the database is initialized, and we have checked the schema also. And we're able to create sessions or units of work that are attached to that data layer. Okay, so in this case, what I'm doing next in this application is I'm doing a small query. I'm creating a unit of work, and I'm checking if there is any contact. If the count is equals to 0, then I create some contacts. I create myself, Javier, Jaime, which is a dear friend from El Salvador, and Rafael, which is a dear friend here from Arizona. And these are not our phone numbers; those are made up. The only thing that is real in here is the area code, which is mine is +7 because it's Russia. And these are +1 because it's United States, and actually Jaime should be like +503, that's El Salvador, and good. And then we commit the transaction to the database. This is Prism related. We have register or navigation types and view models. And we have one page that is called contact list. So in here, let's go to that page. First, we will understand the UI to see how the data binding. No, maybe we'll check the view model first. So let's go to the contact list view model. And in here, this is a view model which inherits from the application view model that is created by AppMap or by Prism. They will give you a view model base. So I'm inheriting from that. And basically, since they use dependency injections, you can inject stuff like, for example, here the navigation service. But that is more Prism related. And in this case, we're going to learn only about XPO. If you want to learn about Prism, there are hundreds of good tutorials in the internet. The person who creates the framework, which is Brian Lagunas, he has a lot of videos and articles, so you can find him anywhere on the internet. So okay, basically we do have here a view model, so let's learn what is different in this view model. So in general, what we did here is that Prism contains one method, well, a few methods to handle navigation. One is on navigated to, which means that I was in this page and I navigated to another page. So when any page navigates to the contact list page, this will be executed. So in here what we do is that we have an indicator that is a boolean that at this moment the application is busy or the page is busy. Then we call the base because we don't know if in the base view model we need to trigger something there. And then we create a new unit of work for all this class, for all this view model. And then here we have this variable which is called data, which in this case is an observable of dynamic. You can do an observable of object also. What I wanted to do, or you can do an observable of contact, depending on how generic you want to do your system. In this case, let's do it contact. So we know that here it will be a list of contacts. And oh no, there is a reason. Yeah, you can do it that way, but there is a reason that we are going to do it this way, because I wanted to show you how to save bandwidth. That's why this is done this way. Okay, sorry for that, I forgot about it. Okay, so data is an observable collection, so it reports to the UI when the collections have changed. And well, basically that's it. Then we have this method which is called load data. So this is really important. Let's go and see what it does. In here we're creating a list from a query. This is an XPO link query. So in here we wrote that we're going to order it by name, and then we're going to do a select new. What does this select new means is that the object can contain 100 properties, but I'm only going to select 3 of it: the phone, the name, and the OID, because I need the key to do some manipulations in some cases. So basically what links returns is an anonymous object with only the properties that you selected. And that is also good, because if you check it to the data store level, it will retrieve only those properties. So you don't have to create complex object that might contains like 80 columns or properties. You can just pick the ones that you need to show in the mobile, and this is good for remote scenarios also. So okay, we get the data here, we clear the variable because it maybe has something from before, and then we do a for each to add each record to that observable collection, and then we tell the everyone that is listening to the iNotify property change that the data property has changed. So that's everything that we need basically. So we have the data layer, we have the unit of work, then we create a query, and with that query we populate an observable collection of dynamic, and that's pretty much it. Then we have another version. It's almost the same as load data, but is for doing search. So in this case it's the same, it's a query, but the difference is that this query contains a where clause. So in here we can check that the name or the phone contains the search text that we are passing. So after that it's exactly the same. We clear this the data, so we can include only the records that match the values, and then we write the property change, so it notifies the UI or the grid or the list that you're attaching to this, so it will refresh the data basically. And that's I will say that pretty much it. Then you have the declarations of the command, the search command and the add new contact command, but those are Prism related. So after that you don't need anything else. I mean, that is XPO related. Everything else can be Prism but not XPO related. So let's go and check the view. So here in the view, well, you know that Prism will make a match of the view model and the view, right? And you know that because when you register the types, here you tell them this contact list, which is the view, should be attached to this view model. Okay, so in general, let's go to the list. Here I'm using a Developer Express data grid for Xamarin because I didn't want to do the template for the list list view of the normal list view of Xamarin, but basically it's the same. All the list of editors that you can find in Xamarin Forms and in all the platforms. Basically, they will ask you for something like item source, data source, or something like that. So we will attach that to the data property of the view model. That's the only thing that you need to know. Everything else should be Xamarin, normal Xamarin Forms and normal Prism. And then the data grid is because I was lazy and I didn't want to do the item templates. So this is the easiest way to proceed, I would say. So let's basically run this. Let me run this application and the startup. I will set the Android project as a startup. And this will take a little bit because I'm running an emulator inside of an emulator. So this is a virtual machine, and inside there is another virtual machine, which is that phone. So I'm going crazy with virtualization lately. So the only reason why I stopped doing the virtualization experiments is because Javier told me like, hey, we need to do this for the office. Let's stop experimenting. Let's do production code. But it's nice to have some things to play with, like virtualization and APIs. Okay, this will, as I told you, it will be a little bit slow because this is a virtual machine inside of a virtual machine. But this, if you run it in your phone, is like as fast as Xamarin Forms or Prism can be. Okay, so here we have a breakpoint in the initialization. So see, this is the connection string that we're passing. And this is the location of the database actually. So let's continue. Here is preparing the dictionary and so on, so on, so on. So now it will take a little bit of time because as I told you, the emulator is inside of another virtual machine. But then it will render a grid with the records that I showed you that we did here at the beginning of the application. These ones. And here we have Rafael Gonzalez, Jose Manuel Ojeda Melgar, which is me. We have Jose Javier Columbi, which is my business partner and dear friend actually. And another dear friend, Jaime, from El Salvador. He's like a brother to me. And that's it. I mean, we were able to connect to the local XPO database, which in this case is SQLite. And we were able to create records, commit the transaction, and read them back. So basically that's what you need to know about XPO and Xamarin. But there are other things that you might need to understand. Is that XPO is really nice to reduce the amount of code that you will use in your view models. And for that, that will make not much sense if you see it on the list view model. But what I can tell you is that to being able to create a query and just select the fields that you need will reduce greatly the overhead of loading related objects. But now let's check something else. Let's check the contact page view model. So I will try to run this without the GUI. Let's see. Oops, what happened? Well, anyway, well, what I wanted to show you is that there is another screen, which is the contact page. See this contact page, it contains like one label, two text box, and the data bindings is to the data property, then the property name, and then the data property and the property phone. So let's check this view model. Okay, in here we did the same trick on the on navigated to. We said that it's busy. We call the base, so if something was executed on the base, we will call it. We created a new unit of work. Then we, in the data, in this case, data is declared in a different way. It's declared as a contact. Or maybe not. It's declared as an I notify property change, because I just need one property, which is an event from that property here. So in here, this data property can be either any of the persistent bases, as long as it's the base of the contact class, for this case. It can be an object, it can be dynamic, or it can be the I notify property change interface. All of them, I mean, because of the polymorphism, the instance of contact can be contained in all of those type of properties. So in this case, I use the I notify property change because I just need the event. So again, it's stuck. Let's see. No, it's the whole machine, because also I'm connecting to TeamViewer. But anyway, let's see. So we did the same trick, right? But in here, this is an I notify property change, and we are able to put a contact because we know that one of the bases of the contact is the I notify property change. It implements it, that interface. And then we map the I notify property change event to the on change that we created in here. So, oops. So every time something in our data property change, it will trigger a change here. And in here I just do something. I just write the name of the property that changed. And that's it. And then we only have like one more button or command where we execute the save. So in this case, we do unit of work. If it's in transaction, it's because the object has been changed. And then we do commit changes async because we want to avoid to log the UI. So this is async, and we're calling the async method. And then we are telling the Prism navigation service to go back to the page before. So if you have ever written a normal Xamarin Forms application, you know that you will receive somehow by dependency injections or by any means the property that you want to bind, the object that you want to bind to the fields in the UI, like the text box, right? So usually you need to do a map from all the properties from the data model to the view model. But since the data model, which is the XPO class, the contact class, already provide a notification, a change notification event, we can just forward that to the one in the view model. So you don't need to map all the properties and put them in the view model. So you can bind the view model to the view. You do it through the data property. So here, as you can see, when I'm binding the list, I'm using binding a property called data from the view model. And we know that this is an observable collection of dynamic. In the case of the contact page, we are binding to also the data property, but in this case the data property contains the full contact, but we are just exposing it as an I notify property change object. And then we have the save command that will trigger the save method, and we'll just commit the changes to the database. So let's run this. I don't know why this simulator is always showing me news at the beginning. Well, anyway. Let's wait a little bit because, again, this is an emulator inside of an emulator. So let's relax and just wait. sometimes it takes a lot of time, but we only need to run it one more time. Let me check the output to see what it's doing. Yes, it's still deploying. Is the deployment that is somehow slow? I think it's somehow because of the virtual network. It's not the emulator that is slow. Okay, so in here we have our contact list, right? So we're going to add a few more contacts. Well, we will add Manuel, which is our dear friend that do the podcast, I mean the meetups with us. He's from Austria, but I hope that I will write his last name good. I think it's like that. And if not, Manuel, I'm sorry. I will double check how to write your name and do the spelling correctly. And let's just make up the phone. I don't know what is the. He's from Austria. I don't know what is the record from Austria, but they said that is this, and then write a phone number. So now it's committing, and here we have Manuel. And let's try to do a search. Manu. When I was in the school, everyone called me like that. No one called me Jose or Joche, they called me Manu because of my second name. So here there are too much, Manuel and me. And if we do Jose, there will be two matches also. There is Javier and me. So yeah, the search is working. So far so good. There is one thing that I wanted to show you, so let me clear the output here. I will make this bigger. And let's go to the emulator, and I'm going to clear this and add a new contact. So in here you will see that when I'm typing, the iNotify property change will be triggering. So let's add who? O'Neill. See, every time I'm typing, the property name is changing. You can see it in here. Every time I type, it's triggering the notify property change notification. I think that to be more efficient, you might need something like React objects, but that is a total different scenario. We will try to do one of these days. And then I don't remember his phone, but again I'm going to make it up and save. And we're going to add a new contact, and this will be Hector Jasmani. Those two persons are students and they work with us, and I'm really proud to see how they can tell me, like, I mean, it's for personal satisfaction when they tell me, Jose, you mentioned that in that video so many years ago, and now you're doing it in this video. It makes sense. So it's nice. I mean, when you create something and sometimes you think, oh, who will watch this? But some people watch it and they use it and they do great stuff with it. So that makes me feel good. Okay, so I don't know his number either. So we have them in here, and great, everything is working, is doing fine. So now it's time for a little bit of an announcement. Well, a lot of people ask, like, if we're using the WCF connector for XPO, and we try to do that when we move to Xamarin, but WCF is not going to work well with Xamarin in general. you need to do a lot of tricks, and even when you do them, sometimes it just don't work. So we decided to create our own provider. So we do have a specialized provider, which is called Web API provider, and it's in this example. So in here, remember that we have like some example use cases. If we need to connect to SQL Server, if we need to connect to the local SQLite database. And there was another example here, like you can do in memory to an XML file. But sometimes you need to just write data into the server, not local, because then if you write local, then you need to transport it to somewhere else and serialize and create APIs and blah blah blah. No, too much work. If you have used XPO, it's because you want to save time and not do that much work. So in here we have this server. This server is a ASP.NET Core server, and it's really simple. Let's check the startup class. In here we have something that is called the data store resolver, which will make sure that we have a data store working on the controller level, and we are projecting that controller to the mobile application. So we have a controller in here, and this controller do something. It emulates a connection to the database, but through HTTP or HTTPS, as you want, as you set up your server. So the XPO application thinks that it's connecting to a local database, but it's sending everything to the server through HTTP. So I will not go deep on this, only show you that if you have this server and this controller, you can use it as data store. So let's come here. And let's see the configuration file. In this configuration file, I have said that we can have as many databases in here in this server, and we can expose all of them, but each of them should contain an ID. In this case, it's DB1. See, you can see it there. Yes. So, and also you have to set the database auto create options for each connection string. So, for example, for DB1, I want to tell that it should create the database and the schema. And you can do DB2, DB3, or put any name. The only requirement is that it should be unique. So this is connecting to a local SQL data server, and that I have it in here. And I'm going to delete the table, so you can see that it will create the tables actually. Okay, so far so good. Refresh. Good. Okay. So in this case, what we need to do is let's go to our application, and remember that we were initializing the XPO helper with the connection string. So we will comment this out, and we will use another overload which use the data store. And what we're going to do is we're going to register our new connection provider. Then we will generate a connection string for that connection provider. This is the local IP of this virtual machine where this server here will be running. And let's see. And that's pretty much it. And then we will initialize the helper not with a connection string but with an instance of the data store. So I'm going to put here a breakpoint, and it's going to do everything the same, but we're going to connect to a database that is in SQL Server instead. And here I'm going to do something extra so you see that it's not like hard code. So we're going to do contact, and this will be Charlie, a dear friend from El Salvador. And again, the connection to my remote machine is breaking. Okay, Charlie. The unit of work, and then we will copy this. And the phone, I will change a few numbers. And then we're going to a new one also. And this will be Manuel. And another makeup number. And good. So everything will be the same. We will use the same code. We will just change the provider for the connection string. We will create a different provider. So this will write the data in the server actually. So for that we need to do let's do properties, and we need to do a multi-project startup. So we're going to run here the server, and we're going to run the Android application. Okay, so let's wait a little bit. So that is the server that is creating an API so XPO can communicate with the data flow. And see, congratulations, the server is working. And now let's come here and let's wait a little bit because it's still deploying the Xamarin Forms application in the emulator. It takes time, I think, because it do it through ADB, and since it's a virtual network, there are some stuff about virtualization that I have not figured it out yet, but I really love that topic, so I will fix it soon. Okay, so here this is the connection string for our provider. It's a shame that you cannot see it bigger. I'm going to copy this. And well, I will put it in a notepad, and then I will show you like in a magnifier version. Okay, so that's the connection string. If you see, it's pointing to the IP of this machine and to the server and to the data store with ID DB1. And here we have the instance of the provider already. And let's continue. You can see the calls here. For example, here there is a call to the server. It was updating the schema. I don't know if you can see it. How can you make this bigger? Well, here it is. And I think this should be almost done. It always takes time the first time. Here there are another calls to the server. And see, this is the data, Rafael, Manuel, that's me, Javier, Jaime, and Charlie. And if we go and check the database, we will have the tables in here. And see, this is the data. I'm going to change it in here. I will change my official name for my nickname as a child, and that's it. If I run this, now here is Hoche. So in here I'm going to add a new one, so when it returns it will refresh the data, because I didn't implement a refresh function. So test, and let's write any number and save. Yes, well, there is a different version of that connector that will create an async data store, and I'm not doing the wrapping. So what I will do is in here is we're going to create a new async. Hold on, I have this in here in the other project. So since in Xamarin Forms you need a lot of async operations, so we have created a special connector that will wrap everything inside of some code that will handle the threading and the async operation, even if the database don't provide a way to do it. So it's a wrapper that we have here. So let me open the project because I don't remember the name. Well, I will try to figure it out so we don't waste too much time. So I think this will be bit XPO providers web API client, and we have here an async web API client. So let's wrap this provider inside of this new one. And this asks for a e-data store. So good, we're done. Okay, let's run this again. Now the sync operation will work because it's wrapped into the sync handler. And you will see that the data that we did in the SQL server interacting the tables will be here actually. The server is working. And let's see. I think it's still deploying. Yes. Let's clear the console. Is initializing the provider, and let's wait a little bit. and it should be working now. No, it's never like that. There you go. So in here we have everyone. Here is not, I mean, now it's Hoch, it's not Jose Manuel, and there's a new person. This will be Daniel, my friend from Colombia, but he lives in Russia actually. And +7, and let's make another number and save, and this should work, should not throw an exception. Perfect. So if you see, Daniel is here, and we can come here, and Daniel is also here. So that's it. I hope this makes sense. I hope I didn't scare you with so many XPO providers, but I think that you can use that like in a lot of solutions. So use it. It's open source. There is a new version actually. Let's open this. This is GitHub. In the repositories is this one. We're still updating this. I mean, there is no readme or anything, but everything is in the source, and here you will find everything that we will open source eventually. So I'm just trying to make all the names make sense, to see that we don't implement the same class twice, because we did it, because we have a lot of providers, but they didn't start from the same base. So we are like doing a more monolithic approach in this case, and also try to be decoupled at the same time. It's somehow like difficult to explain, but we have to have that that all names are correct, that it makes just sense, the naming convention. So well, that's everything for today. I guess one other day I will do more. I will go deeper into explain the XPO web API provider, but so far so good. And well, if you have any questions, because we're running out of time, you can write those questions in the Facebook group, in the description of this video, in the YouTube channel, and also you can send us an email. I think the information will be in the slide at the beginning of the video. That's how we always do it here in the office. And that's it, guys. So please be safe. The coronavirus is still out there, so try to not expose yourself too much. And take care, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.